What it do, snackers and snackettes? It's your boy Gage. Got jokes and sin in the building. What's up, gentlemen?
What's
Yo, yo,
happening?
yo.
Listen, so we are here just to. We have to. We got. We got to talk about this Mandalorian. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
We need to
for it.
have. We're gonna keep it brief. I don't want to overdo it. So we definitely need to talk about the season finale. Would you agree?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. But before we do that, what I would like to do is get your overall impressions of the season. So, Sin,
hmm
I'm gonna go to you first. Where are
I
we? How do we feel? What are we thinking?
I enjoyed the second season just as much, if not more, than the first one.
Mm.
Yeah, like I really did. A lot of episodes like stood out to me. One thing I love about Star Wars is seeing all these new planets and locations you can go. That just gave me a lot more of it, and new characters they introduced, the characters that they brought back, and just how it all just is coming together and tying together. Just I thoroughly enjoyed season two. Thoroughly.
My guy. Jokes?
Season 2 was clean.
Okay.
A lot of people would probably argue the fact that it was only 6 episodes, so they think it's kind of short. But honestly, I thought each episode did what it needed to do. If you give me that quality, I'll take quality over quantity any day of the week. Um, that is an absolute certainty. But season 2, just like Sen said, I definitely think season 2 was better than season 1, and that's always a good thing. Is when as you continue, it gets better. Some things, as you go too far into it, they're like, oh yeah, the old seasons were the better ones. But definitely, if this is the trend going forward, I think we are in a very good place for the future of the Mandalorian.
We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about the future of the Mandalorian and where we think it's going and what it really means. So, for me, season two is almost perfect. It's almost perfect. I think the beginning of the season, I could hear a lot of complaints out in the zeitgeist. There was a lot of people who just felt like the first couple episodes were like filler, you know what I mean?
hmm
Not quite enough happening. Um, and I find that interesting because personally, I think, in my opinion, them was with the way that they've been calculated about how they do these episodes,
Mm-hmm.
you almost can't consider anything filler until you see the whole season. Because the way things happen in the first or second episode pay off later tends to matter. And like there are small things. For instance, early on there's the episode where they get trapped on like the ice planet.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of people it's like, this is filler. Like, why are we running from like giant spider creatures and whatever? But I think in hindsight, what that more than anything is an opportunity for them to show, okay, we have pilots out here that are rebel pilots still flying X-wings, right? And they come to his rescue. At the end, like they're still out here
hmm
working and doing work. So the payoff technically is in the very last episode, you see a single X-wing. So let's talk about the last episode, Sin.
hmm
Going into the last episode, I mean, we figured, okay, a Jedi is going to show up.
Yes. Yes.
Did you get what you were expecting?
No, but I was pleasantly surprised.
Okay. Okay. What were you expecting?
I was expecting, yes, a Jedi to show up, but the Jedi that showed up wasn't who I was expecting to show up.
Well, that's what I mean. Who did you think was going to show up?
Uh, I had my money set on Ezra.
Okay.
That's who I had my money set on. I didn't think it was gonna be Ashoka. I didn't think it was gonna be her. I didn't think it was Mace.
Yeah, I saw a lot of that, and I was
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah,
Hey,
this is super old, bruh. Like at this point, like
yeah,
Mace
yeah.
would be
I even thought
super old and is technically supposed to be dead, but
Right.
Technically.
super old.
Right. I thought Venrus, possibly.
Who?
Venrus.
Okay.
You
Did
know
you?
what I'm saying? I mean, throwing out that type of force like into the sky, like what if a
What
Sith,
if it's not a Jedi? What if it is a
yeah, what if they
like
found him first?
mental or
Yeah.
something? Okay.
Yeah, so I toyed with that, but Ezra was the one I was leaning to.
Jokes, what about you?
Kind of in that same boat as well too. The person that showed up, like I was kind of like, oh,
I mean,
oh,
listen, y'all understand this is over. This is full spoilers. We can talk about who showed up. Let's just have the
let's do it.
conversation. Like I'm not, yeah,
So
yeah.
Luke showed up. So I was kind of
Right,
like,
but is that what? That's not what you were expecting.
that's not what I was expecting. Now going into it when they kept saying a Jedi, my mindset, I'm thinking, well, technically during this time, technically, there would only be that one particular Jedi that was left. We knew there were some in hiding, the ones that left Obi-Wan. So, Obi-Wan, of course, was another one that I kind of thought of, thinking that, hey, we do know that the Obi-Wan show is coming. Is this somehow the beginning where we see him show up?
Yeah,
to
but
do
in this
something?
timeline, Obi-Wan's dead, so he would have to show up as like a force
Force
ghost. You know what I mean? Like,
whatever. Like it's Star
Yeah.
Wars. Anything can happen. But it kind of was.
they did that, they would break so many rules, bro. That would have been too much.
But as soon as the X-wing showed up, I knew exactly who it was. Like even though thinking we've seen the other two pilots, but as soon as they said Jedi, as soon as you see Jedi and X-wing, there's only one person that really truly comes to mind when you think about that, and that's Luke.
That's pretty true, bro.
And then once he entered it was dead giveaways. The glove was on. As soon as you saw the glove, it was a dead giveaway. It was like
yeah.
It was a dead
black,
giveaway.
the
And the green
belt,
lightsaber.
all that.
Those were just the two obvious things once before you even got to the room. But yeah, I was thinking.
For me, I think that. So, like for me, my expectation wasn't Ezra, but I kind of wanted it to be Ezra. Like that wasn't necessarily what I expected, but I was like, yo, if Ezra shows up, that'd be crazy. Then for a while, I was thinking it might be Cal Kestis from the last game. Because the game is canon. And because Cal was a youngling who survived
True.
at a Jedi temple just like Grogu. Like it could have been that Cal was the one that saved him. And then in the game basically turns into a storyline where he's trying to deal with the fact that there's a list of like Jedi who are at the temple. So it could be that like, oh, maybe they knew each other or had something. And so like if Grogu, still not totally happy with that name, was gonna put out some kind of a reach or whatever, that maybe it would be somebody who did know. And then I realized when Luke showed up how wrong I was. I'm gonna tell you why. Because the idea, see, in my head, as a person who does have some knowledge of the grander story outside of the main set of trilogies of movies and then just The Mandalorian, being familiar with shows like Rebels, Clone Wars, so forth, the game meant that I had this knowledge in my head of these other characters, and I kind of allowed myself to be led astray because they brought Ahsoka in, right? But if you just think about the sheer number of people who are watching The Mandalorian and have no idea about any of that, like never seen Rebels, don't even really know who Ahsoka is, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, for Luke to show up, that is such a big deal for anybody who watched the original trilogy.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? If you watch the most recent trilogy, you know that there's a tie. She got his lightsaber. You know what I mean? Like, Rey has his lightsaber. So, to do that made it full circle, and I think made it more important for it to be Luke, so that you could kind of tie those threads together for people who aren't like us, who are watching The Mandalorian. Yeah, because it's like my parents are watching The Mandalorian, bro, and they don't care. I'm not saying they couldn't care about Rebels. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But they don't. Like, it's not a thing for them. And they're not going to go back and watch like 7 seasons of a joint You know what I mean? To catch up for it, to try to figure out who's this dude, Ezra. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. So I think Luke being the one that showed up actually made I was slightly disappointed actually when he first showed up. When I saw the X-Wing, I was like, this is so cliche. Like, and then he started working though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is kind of what we needed. Because in the same way I was like, listen, if Vader's gonna show up in the Obi-Wan show, which he's supposed to, again, my complaint was Vader, the history of Vader technically on screen, he's pretty weak.
Yeah.
It doesn't live up to the hype.
Doesn't live up to the hype.
So it's an opportunity for him to live up to the hype.
Right.
And technically, Luke don't really live up to the hype either.
Oh, not in this
because we
last
never
one.
really get to see him work. So then, what about the rest of the shows? Is Grogu a part of Ahsoka's show now? Does Ahsoka meet Luke? Somehow,
that's
is
what I'm
there?
That's kind of like where my brain is going. Like maybe Grogu pops up in someone else's show or something like that. Like how they're kind of
a subtle tie-in. Like as much as we know everything now, pretty much the universe, everything is together. Just that small subtlety of having Grogu show up, even if it's just a quick appearance, or maybe he goes, maybe Ahsoka sees him. It's like, oh, you found your master, you found whatever to get trained. I'm happy to see it. Something as subtle as that. But like on the side of like, I'm gonna be honest with you, with the way Star Wars has been. Now, don't get me wrong, Jon Favreau is doing an awesome job of carrying the universe right now. I don't think Moff Gideon is gonna make it much further. I honestly think, as much as a bad dude, cool dude, whatever you want, I feel like he's gonna be the setup for the next big bad, whether it's in the Mandalorian or say like Ahsoka, like how we do know Thrawn is involved.
Right.
Moff is captured. Maybe there is a rescue operation to go get him, but say like Thrawn is like, hey, look, you failed. You're dead. Something like that, just to kind of like highlight the next big bad. You know what? Maybe won't necessarily kill him, but maybe he will be like, hey, you're gone. Like, you're not going to run this no more. You're going to go and be my personal assistant or something a little crazy, just to show whoever that next big bad is, like how strong and how powerful their control and their reach actually is. Gideon as himself, like, they typically, the way Star Wars goes, like the last few villains, you don't get a lot of backstory with some of the villains, and I wonder if that's what's going to end up happening with Moff as well too. I think Favreau is doing a very good job at making sure none of the characters get forgotten or anything for it, but he's kind of that. We know he's a bad guy. We know he's awesome, but we don't necessarily know how he got to become that. And I feel like he's going to end up getting swept under the rug just from the history of Star Wars. But I could be wrong. And I hope this is one of those that I am wrong, and we do get a little bit more from Moff.
So look, that's our wrap on The Mandalorian Season 2. Where we think it's going, how we felt about it. Feel free. Comments below. Let us know where you think it's going, how you feel about it. With that, we're out. Toodles and loose.